reporting on the games you love by people who love to game. The MMO Reporter Network.
Apples! Apples for sale! Come get a nice quiet apple! Psst! They're so quiet you might say they're whispering.
I'm looking for my contact, a member of the
Shh! Apples for sale! Nothing but apples to see here, folks! What part of secret society wasn't explained to you? Keep your voice down, initiate, and pretend you're buying an apple. My name's Tybalt, Lightbringer of the Order of You-Know-What.
Happiness mode engaged.
Hello.
Welcome.
Ready for action.
Happy to meet you, hero.
Glad to have you with us.
You'll find everything you need here.
Hail, traveler.
Wake up, you motherless Edens. It's time to go.
I'd offer the traditional pirate's greeting, but your spleen is better unperforated.
You're listening to Guild Wars Reporter on the MMO Reporter Network, brought to you by Audible.com. Get a free audiobook download at audibletrial.com/MMOReporter and by Doghouse Systems. Choose your weapon at doghousesystems.com.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Guild Wars Reporter. This is episode 177. I'm Celeste, and I'm joined by Allona. Hello, Allona.
I think you're confused, Celeste.
Oh, right. Sorry. I'm Chris. Hi.
Hey. I know
Chris.
the letters are sort of close. Celeste, Chris, there's C's, there's S's, there's stuff going on, but...
My name is Chris, and you may have seen me in such shows as Guild Wars Reporter Launch Edition, Lotro Reporter Launch Edition and Current Edition, and MMO Reporter, Defiance Reporter, Crowfall Reporter, ESO Reporter. Oh, crap, I've been on a lot of shows.
I was going to say, I'm starting to get a little sleepy
First
here.
Report, plus one. Anyways, hey, hi, how's it going, Bill?
Excellent. Yes, I'm Bill. For those of you that don't know, I am Chris's right-hand dude over on MMO Reporter and have been on other places as well, Lotro Reporter and I
think you've guessed it on Guild Wars Reporter way back when.
Oh yeah. If you're a longtime listener, I've been here before. I did a little bit of time on Star Wars Reporter when we did that, and anyway.
We did SWTOR, like we called it Tor Reporter though, because I was going against the grain. Damn it, I wasn't going to go SWTOR. I was going to go Tor, the Old Republic.
I still think that the community missed an opportunity to just call it SWATer and call it done.
That's the new dating app. So Celeste and Allona are both unavailable this week, so we have been asked to fill in so that those of you who rely on this feed on your Friday morning commutes do not go unsatisfied. Is that the word?
Sure, let's go with that.
I'd like to start
in a completely platonic way.
Yes. I'd like to start first by offering my sincerest apologies to all of you who are listening to the show, because we're not Celeste and Allona.
Yeah.
And I think that just deserves an apology right there, because I'm not even going to try to compete. I'm not going to try to live up to that. I'm just going to try to put something out there that is worthy of Celeste and Allona's dismissal. If we're that good, then I think we're doing okay.
Dismissal there, Chief. Let's tone the language down a little bit.
Oh, sorry. All of a sudden,
nobody's fired.
Sorry, Cat.
Everybody's welcome to come back on Monday.
Sorry, Cat.
We're not cleaning out your desks or anything.
No, I meant dismissal like they dismiss us. Like, That's what I meant.
Okay.
Anyways, let's get right into what we have been doing in gaming this week. Bill, why don't you start?
Sure. Well, I'll start just for anyone who's doesn't know. I do have a little bit of Guild Wars 2 experience. I've actually been with the game since launch and prior. I did a whole bunch of beta. I did all the events. I was there at the PAX launch event way back in 2010. And it was hooked back then. So I've been around. I'm not some random noob that just walked into the Guild Wars 2 Reporter studio and picked up the bike. So
you were the kindest person I met at the entire PAX 2010, because you split your demo time with me. You didn't take all 40. They were giving away 40-minute demo times. and you split it with me 20 minutes and 20 minutes. And for that, Bill, my first board is yours. Right?
Wait a sec.
Becoming a teenager now, so
I was
take her
gonna
for a
say,
few years.
she's great and all, but I'm not sure this is quite the deal you think it is. So anyway, stepping away from trading children, I'm going to get back to what I actually did in game this week. I have been on a bit of a low-level fractal tear. I am the king of fractals under fractal level 13. So if you need somebody who's a complete and utter noob but can still find their way into a fractal, I am your guy. So I've been enjoying that. I've just been picking that up as a nice, easy daily to do. Get a little bit of loot. I got the legendary achievements that I've needed out of all that, because the next thing I've been doing is actually working on my Zap. My most recent main has actually been my Revenant since Heart of Thorns, and I just thought Zap would be the perfect weapon for me to work on. That's, of course, the one-handed sword, for those of you that don't know Chris. And yeah, so I'm at the stage of that. I've actually completed the first phase of manufacturing Zap. So I've got my completely malformed, failed Zap experiment, which is still an exotic weapon, but it's the ugliest, stunted, gross sword you've ever seen in your life, which I'm sure they've done on purpose, but whatever. So now I'm in the phase where I've got to craft a ton of materials, and I'm in the process of crafting exactly 250 mithril swords. So doing the math on that, I think it came out to around 1,300 mithril that I need.
Wow.
Which is,
I helped. I didn't mail them to you yet. I have. I have, I think, 100 or so for you. So.
Oh, there you go. Good deal.
Hey,
yeah, I could use it. I deliberately decided that I wasn't going to just buy it on the Black Lion. I was tempted. I'm tempted every single day to say, I just want to move on to this next step and carry on. But I feel like I need this as part of the painful legendary experience. Like so far, this is working out to be an effort that I'm going to tell stories to my grandchildren about. I don't think I've worked so hard for a piece of equipment in any game ever. And I've played one or two in my years, so.
Yeah, even your raid sets, you think?
Yeah. I've spent more time on this than anything like that. The raid sets are a little bit different because they take a lot of coordination in terms of getting 10 to 25 of your favorite people all together and ready to go on raid night. Right. But you're still only burning 4 to 8 hours completing your raid if you're going to 8 hours if you're going to spill it over 2 nights. I can't imagine that I'm less than 40 hours into Zap, and that's actually not a lot of time as far as legendaries go.
Yeah, I guess you're right. Yeah, that's true. That's true. Because I was thinking, the full set would take you, that's getting you some tokens or a chance at getting maybe one piece, perhaps drop in a raid. But and I'm talking WoW rating, but yeah.
Well, any rating really.
And I do like the way it is now in that it is no longer as RNG dependent. Mm-hmm. And now it really is you put in the time, you get the reward. It's that simple.
Yep. I'm a master of my own domain, at least so far. So that's been one of the things I've been working on. Hopefully Zap is going to come my way soon. You know what's going to happen, though, is I'm going to finish Zap, and I'm going to have this great event in the middle of Lion's Arch, and putting the hoopla of getting all my components together and building it. It's going to be magical. And the next day, they're going to announce a new one-handed sword, legendary.
Yeah.
And I'll probably cry a little bit. Probably a little more than a little bit, actually.
That's okay. I will hear you sob from here.
Probably.
Most likely, in fact.
Yeah. So the other bit is I've stalled out a little bit at mastery level 70. So I've been kind of going back to my mastery point farming. I've got both of my Heart of Thorns and Tyrion experience bars full, and I'm stuck just for lack of mastery points, which is just hurting me down to my soul. So
yeah, you were stuck at a full XP bar, just missing mastery points, right?
Yeah, that's exactly where I am. So so now I'm trying to put together these mastery points, and there's so few that I can actually get. I need to get some from Triple Trouble. I've never completed that successfully ever, so that's on my list, my bucket list, but I haven't got there yet. The way I've been working on it though is actually doing the achievements inside the season 2 story. So completing all those achievements for each chapter in the story gives you a mastery point.
Okay.
And which is not bad. They're challenging. Like they're not impossible. They're the kind of thing that you can work through. I usually am able to finish it by my second or third go through, which is working out nicely for me. So I've been able to put together a few mastery points that way. That's a pretty time intensive thing though too, because typically you have to go through these chapters multiple times because a lot of the achievements actually compete with each other. So you can't like if you have to like one achievement might be to kill everything in the chapter, and then the next achievement would be to get through the chapter without killing anything. Right. So it's a little time consuming that way, but it's not bad if you need to get some mastery points together. And other than that, I've been doing some farming in Auric Basin, mainly doing the Octovine event. Have you done the Octovine yet, Chris?
I have not.
Okay, this is one you need to put this on your list because this is the kind of world event that you would love.
Okay.
So
I had fun with the one we did the other night. I'll talk about that in a minute.
Oh yeah, that's a good one too. Well, anyway, yes, that's the other good one. I won't spoil your thunder. So Octovine, because I assume everybody else already knows. Chris doesn't. The Octovine is in Auric Basin. There's you've seen the Exalted, or at least the screenshots of the Exalted in Auric Basin. They're the shiny, empty energy armor floaty type people, that kind of thing. So in the center of Auric Basin is their golden city that comes under attack.
Yeah. I've totally done that one. Yeah, okay.
There you go.
Yeah, where the gates, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So this is, I think, my favorite meta event in the entire game. And the complexity for it's complex enough that it's actually a challenge to finish, although the community is getting pretty good at it now. You have to be in a good map, and which is great. But I've kind of discovered the art of taxiing now. So, not now, but I've discovered it a long time ago. But again, I'm going to explain this for you, Chris, because I assume you don't know.
I don't know.
Everybody else will. Okay, taxiing is the notion where you hit the LF tool and you look for people who are in the zones that you want to play in. So, for example, if you want to run the AB meta or the Auric Basin meta, you'll look for groups that are doing AB meta or Octovine or something along those lines, and you'll join that group. Then you pop into Auric Basin, right-click on your group leader, and choose the Join in Auric Basin option that pops up, and bang, you're suddenly in a populated map that actually has a decent chance of completing the meta, instead of being in a dead map that might get one of the doors down if you're lucky. So
I have yet to be successful, and that's probably the reason why in that one. Romo in the chat room's asking, is that the one over Dragon Stand?
Nope. Dragon Stand is 2 zones over. This is the one that's just
the Golden City, right? With the
the Golden
4
City
doors and
just. I'm trying to remember if it's just south.
It's the second zone,
southeast of Verdant Brink.
Yeah.
So it's the next zone past Verdant Brink.
It's the second zone after when you're going through the zones.
He's asking over Dragon Stand. I actually do like it over Dragon Stand ever so slightly because I still suck at Dragon Stand. I've done a couple runs in Dragon Stand, and it's been even the organized maps that I've got to have not been that organized, and it's been frustrating and dumb, and I haven't enjoyed it. Whereas I can almost always find a good Auric Basin map. So yeah, Dragon Stand is cool. Like, there's a lot of cool mechanics in there, don't get me wrong. But as far as just what I'm liking these days, I'm hopping into the Octovine.
And which one is Dragon Stand?
Dragon Stand is the final zone.
Okay,
so it's the final Heart of Thorn zone.
Yeah.
Since you haven't been there, I won't spoil it for you. But let's just say it's got some pretty... that meta event is very relevant to the living story.
Got it. Understood. I will make sure that I continue. And it's not like I haven't... I guess I've gone wider rather than deeper into Heart of Thorns. Mm-hmm. And I've done some more alts and stuff like that. So I think that's And I got caught up into other stuff, and the whole surgery stuff kind of slowed me down.
I have given up on the notion of alts in Guild Wars. I have every class. I've got 80s on everything except I think the Guardian and the Necro.
Yeah.
Not because I hate those classes, just because they were last in line. But I can't. Like, they're just getting unlocking all the elite specs and everything like that. It's just too much. I can't do it for all 8 classes or anything like that. It's exhausting to even think about. So I've kind of picked my favorite classes. I've got my Revenant, I've got my Thief, I've kind of got my Ranger as my third place one. So although I'm really tempted to take a serious run at the Necro, I'm loving the
Reaper?
The Reaper Elite spec. So that looks really cool. So that might be a project later this year, but
awesome.
But for now, I got Zap to get.
Yeah, that's true.
No
alt
alts till Zap happens.
Yep.
So anyway, that's been basically my week. How about you, Chris? What kind of stuff have you gotten up to?
Now, which zone were we in on Monday night?
On Monday night, we went to the Silver Wastes.
Yeah, okay. So we did the Silver Waste Zone event, and that was tons of fun. Absolutely tons of fun. And you showed me how to do it and what to do. And Silver Wastes is probably still my least favorite zone because of that introduction and having to go through there. And I don't know if I was just on a really unpopulated map as I went through there on launch night, but I hated that whole experience of going through Silver Wastes the first time, right?
Yep.
When you go, it was so awful that I just, as soon as I got there, I was like, oh crap, not this again.
Silver Wastes is a miserable map when it's low populated, but if you have even just an inkling of what you need to do in the map and it's at least decently populated, I have a ton of fun there. It's always the same. I realize it's not an epic challenge or anything like that, but the action just flows so nicely in there. It's decent loot. It's
loot. Holy cow. What, it took us 45 minutes?
Yeah, so Chris, this was his first attempt at cleaning up all the loot bags and that come from a Silver Wastes run. So I had to, not only did I have to train him how to do the Silver Wastes, I had to train him how to clean up the loot after Silver Wastes.
Yeah.
Next time it'll go faster.
Well, in case I was a moron and I was opening up bags as I went through it, right?
Yeah.
So my
Cardinal
inventory
sin.
it was horrible.
Cardinal sin. Leave it in the bags until you're ready to.
Yeah. But that was a lot of fun. That event is really, really good. And quite pleasant to do, especially the end bit. I really enjoyed that. And overall, just really a pleasant time that we had. I've sent that over to YouTube, and I'll be finalizing that to do a sort of stream highlights video anytime now, because it was a lot of fun, and it was actually quite informational for anyone who's interested in that. And then with my Guardian, I've just been going through, and I did this too with my Warrior for a while, just doing old world zone completion. And just regular Tyria, just sort of going around and finishing zones. And I think I finished Queensdale. What's it called? No.
I remember Queensdale.
Yeah. I finished that one. And the one underneath it.
Were
K
you
something.
Ever around in the day of the champion train in Queensdale?
Yes. Absolutely. Yeah.
That's just, I mean, it's pretty sad to think that Guild Wars 2 has been around so long that I can actually look back and feel nostalgic.
That's like
about stuff
old
like
world
that.
WoW, right? You remember when
back in the day.
Back in the day when there were champion trains in Queensdale. Yes, I do.
Oh my.
But you know what? And I tried for a while. I regret it wholeheartedly. Sword main hand, torch off hand on my Guardian. Boo.
Oh, you didn't like that, eh? I've tried that on my Guardian.
Poop.
No.
All sorts of poop. Two-handed sword, and staff on my other spec, other weapon, is the way to go for me. I'm happy with that.
Fair enough.
And on my Revenant, I did get enough mastery points to open up the collections for my legendary. So I decided, and I totally went cosmetics, not what would be best for my character, because most Revenants seem to be getting Juggernaut, the hammer.
Okay, yeah.
I went for the shield.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what? Whatever. That's just what I want, because I hate the look of that hammer. I'm sorry. I think it looks like all the really cool things that all the other weapons do, and Juggernaut is like, oh, look, sploot, there's some stuff. Yeah. And it's not, no. And it doesn't transfer over to some of the Revenant powers very well. Like, you don't get sort of trailing particle effects or anything when you do some of your weapon skills. So, that's fine.
Yeah.
So I went for the shield because I figured I can go for the shield, and because I'm going to be a hardcore Guild Wars 2 player, I'll get like all decked out with all legendary weapons, right? And get like Nevermore for my staff and Zap and the shield, and then I'll be awesome. You know, it'd be a great way to celebrate my 90th birthday.
I was just gonna say.
I don't think it'll happen much sooner. So yeah, that's what we've been doing in game. A couple things we want to mention. Celeste and Allona usually live stream on Wednesdays at 9:30 p.m. Eastern Time, 6:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time at twitch.tv/MMOreporter or MMOreporter.com/live. You can subscribe to the audio version of the podcast on iTunes and Stitcher, and remember to rate and review us so that other people know that, you know what, they're a real podcast. We actually do stuff here. We do stuff. And of course, our wonderful patrons over at patreon.com/MMOreporter. We're now up at 31 patrons, which is fantastic. Sort of the next few big milestones that we're looking at is being able to take away the ads on our videos and audio podcasts. And the one step after that is guaranteeing coverage of PAXs, PAX Prime and PAX East. So if we get to 500, we get rid of all the ads on the network, and then if we get to 1,000, we get to guarantee coverage of PAX Prime and PAX East. So that's pretty darn awesome. All right, let's move things along to Report from Lion's Arch.
Report from Lion's Arch.
All right, so this week's Report from Lion's Arch has us discussing the Winter 2016 quarterly update. And this is a big one, Bill.
I almost feel bad that this is the show that we're covering for Celeste and Allona, because this is like on a tee. This is easy.
Yeah, there are words, and many of them impact how the game is played, and we will discuss these words in the order in which they were put. No, we actually do know some of the stuff that we're talking about. We'll go into detail about the stuff that we do, that we're confident on. But when it comes to the profession skills, we'll probably mention a few things overall, and that let the rest of you dig into them on the show notes if you would like to do so. I'd love to see some discussion about your thoughts on the quarterly update on our Facebook page, or on comments on YouTube, or on the site itself. So let's get going right here. Let's start with the squad UI. So squads will now have access to squad markers. Squad markers can be placed on a location in the world, as well as on targetable items, players, and NPCs. There's 8 marker types, each of which has a unique color and symbol. And you can see the squad section of the control options menu, F11, for key bindings related to placing and removing markers. This is kind of, I think, a necessity now that they've added rating into the game, right? I bet you this is where it really showed that this was necessary.
Well, I would actually argue it's probably necessary in rating. I'm not gonna argue that, but it needed it badly for especially the more complicated world events. Like when you're getting 50 to 100 of your closest friends all together in the same zone to tackle, to coddle, or anything like that, you need to be able to keep track of where people are. So the big one for that's coming with the squad UI is actually the ability for commanders to set lieutenants. So you can actually have people in charge of different areas or different parts of a major event, but still be under a single commander and help and keep everything organized that way. It's a huge improvement to the chaos that was prior, where you would have, if you were lucky, you had 4 commanders running around, but all you had to know was the best coordination that could really happen is follow your color and keep an eye on map chat and don't die. That was the level of coordination that really worked. So this makes it's a little bit more pug friendly, although I don't know that you're ever going to get Tecotl fights and that kind of thing.
Everybody rush Tecotl. Everybody rush.
Exactly. So, but it's a major improvement. They didn't have far to go to make this better. So it's a nice step in the right direction.
All right, and there's a new group category that's been added in the general options menu that contains the following options. Select whether to show all commander tags, use the simple party UI, and that's moved over from the user interface options, and clear all squad markers regardless of key binding, as opposed to having to clear locations and target markers separately. Good stuff. Just
quality of life stuff. If you're a squad leader or commander or anything like that, I rarely command. I'm a follower. So, but I've already seen a couple maps where this has been used, and it just helps. It's really nice quality of life stuff. So, bravo.
And then a couple of last things here. Squad commanders can now appoint lieutenants to take care of administrative tasks.
Yeah.
Lieutenants will have the authority to perform the following tasks: invite and dismiss players, arrange subgroups, broadcast messages, place and remove squad markers. Good stuff.
Yeah, so this is what I was mentioning too. This is the ability for a single commander to kind of divide up zones and help keep track of various sections, and it's especially if you're to me, Tecotl, Triple Trouble, that kind of thing. This fits brilliantly for that kind of event. So nice touches there. So the next thing that we're going to touch on here, and this is kind of the easy one, or it's on a tee for you here, Chris, is gliding within Central Tyria. So that was I'm actually really surprised at how quickly they were able to put this in the game following Heart of Thorns. Like I first, in my mind, I had built this up as this monumental task that would have taken tons of behind the scenes cleanup to happen in the zones in Tyria. So it's really nice that it's there, and it's it's a quality of life thing that I'm just enjoying a lot.
Yeah, and you know what? The nice thing about the way that gliding works in Guild Wars 2 is it's not going to affect the world geometry that much. I'm comparing to WoW here. It's not as big of a deal because you can only go down. There's no updrafts in Tyria, right? They didn't add updrafts like they do all over Heart of Thorns. So you can only really go down. It opens up options where gaps that were, meant to be invisible walls are no longer such a thing, but it's really not as bad as it was in other games. So I'm not surprised that it didn't take that long, but I was surprised when I jumped on my Revenant and I was in the old world and I'm like, jump. And of course, just hit the spacebar again just for fun. And oh, look, I'm gliding. Oh, right. They put that in the game. Okay, good to know.
So Romo in the chat room is mentioning that they actually had this in test from day one, but due to breakout on the maps, they've been sitting on it just polishing. So, which good. It's such a nice quality of life change. I haven't found anything that it trivializes in the world yet. I haven't really been looking that hard for it, but I think the biggest quality of life thing for me is once you get down to the lean mastery for gliding, it's an automatic speed boost. There's certain things that you can go places faster. You get that little bit of a burst to go faster. You're able to go in straight lines a little bit more. It's a nice, especially for the big mountainous zones and that kind of thing. It's just a nice. It's nice. It's nice. I feel like I've said nice a lot.
And some bouncy pads as well. They've added. Romo in the chat room is mentioning. Lunar New Year. Come and celebrate the Year of the Monkey in Divinity's Reach. You can collect and open lucky envelopes to earn essences of luck, delicious foods, fireworks, valuable items, and a chance to find the new Monkey Lantern backpacks. Ooh, new backpack. That's like my mount for Guild Wars 2's backpacks. Trade extra essences of luck into Fionn in your guild hall to purchase Red Lantern decorations, and Red Lanterns can be used by scribes to craft 6 additional festive decorations. You can also bash and kick your way to victory in the Dragon Ball Arena, and festivities are scheduled to end February 9th. So you got a weekend here, folks, before it goes away. So jump in there.
Lunar Lunar New Year, I like for its simplicity more than anything else. The red envelopes are just a nice little bonus to get. You get the boosts that you get. It's always nice to get just that little tiny bit of magic find that goes along and follows you everywhere.
Yep.
It's such a short event though. Like I think it's only going to have been up for. Is it 2 weeks or 3 weeks before it goes away?
Yeah, it's pretty short. I think it just started last week, didn't it? With the
well, it started with
it. Yeah, so this was last week. Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know. Just feels short.
Which is not bad. I don't mind. I mean, it messes with people's lives. If you're on holidays, you might miss it, but it's not the end of the world.
It's also a little bit simpler than the Winter's Day stuff and that kind of thing. So so it's got that going for it. But I don't know. There's something about it's the red envelopes. They make me happy.
Yes, agreed. All right, some balance, bug fixing, polish stuff. Supporting your allies will now contribute towards earning rewards for killing enemies and damaging event bosses. The actions listed below now cause a percentage of the target allies' damage dealt for the next several seconds to count towards your participation. In addition to that, damaging an enemy's defiance bar will also grant you some participation towards receiving rewards from that enemy in order to discourage AFKing with boon applying auras. You must still be actively attacking targets to receive rewards from them. And go ahead.
Basically, the long and short of this is if you're helping, then you get credit for the event. Like for the longest time, unless you were doing damage, you weren't really participating, apparently, because who needs heals? Who needs buffs? That's for suckers. Just swing your sword and swing it fast.
Right.
So this is a common sense thing. It actually really surprises me it took them this long to get here with this, because this is core stuff, and for ages they've been trying to it's been a problem in Guild Wars 2 that the meta always comes down to DPS. Like your gear meta is always berserker stuff, which is strength. I keep wanting to call it agility. It's embarrassing that it's not, but anyway, strength and crit stuff and ferocity were the only relevant things. There was no point in having healing. There was barely point in having condition damage, because conditions were heavily capped before Heart of Thorns and that kind of thing. So the only thing that was worthwhile doing was big nuke type damage. So now reviving people is actually worth your time. Laying out big boons for people is worth your time, and that makes everybody better. So really it's a win-win. This is huge to me.
Good
like
stuff.
This is getting into common sense fixes that kind of drew me into Guild Wars 2 in the first place. Like, they always kind of said that we're here to make the things fun that should be fun and take out the stuff that's not fun. Well, there's more fun things to do in a game than damage.
And it's interesting because this is the type of questions that were asked before the game even launched. I remember at press events and stuff like that, people asking about this when they talked about the fact that and like you mentioned, you're never going to be unhappy when somebody comes and joins your group. Well, what if somebody just wants to heal? What if somebody just wants to give boon? What if that's their role that they're playing?
That's not hurting anyone if they want to come in and heal or anything
Correct,
like that. It's
but they're not getting anything for it.
Exactly. So it's not so much that you didn't appreciate the healer being there. It's that you didn't get any benefit for healing.
Right.
If you wanted to be that healer, the game didn't reward you for that.
Well, yeah, and they were asking about that before launch too. Okay, a couple quick things. We're going to fly through the next little bits here. Added a show all usable objects checkbox to the general options tab of the options menu. That's going to be great for Pac-Man that you showed me the other night, where it can show all usable objects, and those will pop up in the world, hopefully. That's what they're talking about, I hope. There's some new targeting stuff. There's a new disable action camera button. And they changed some map rewards to provide a more straightforward method of acquiring many types of cloth and leather crafting materials. All good stuff. Fractals. Bill.
Yes. So fractals, the big thing they changed with fractals is that you don't have to leave the fractal factory or whatever you want to call it when you want to run different levels of fractals. So have you run any fractals yet, Chris?
Two?
Okay, so you to understand how it works. You understand how they start and everything like that. So the old way, and I'm explaining it to you, not to everyone else, because I'm assuming most people actually know this, but maybe they don't. Anyway, so the old way was that you would go into the fractal zone. You would select the level that you wanted to run. and you would go in and you'd run that level. And if you wanted to run a different level that wasn't the next sequential fractal, everybody had to leave, and then one person would have to go in, set the level, and repeat. It was a giant pain in the butt. Right. So they fixed that. So now you can just be back in the fractal zone that you return to every time you complete one of the fractals. You just pick the next level that you want to run, and you carry on. Simple, easy, and very nice quality of life. They also fixed a bug that was driving me flippin' nuts, where if you would try to join a group that was already in the kind of the fractal zone, or the center zone for fractals, there was a bug where if they were jumping into the fractal just at the time that you were joining the group, that you would get an error message saying that the group is full, and you'd have to drop group and carry on. That's not so bad if you've actually got a steady group that you're running with that actually care about your feelings. But if you're in LFG and you're pugging through low-level fractals, let me tell you, they don't give a rat's ass if you're bugged out. You do not get invited back for those. So that the fact that they fixed that is just heavenly.
Nice. Last few things here. Raids increase the quantity of magnetite shards awarded for failed boss attempts and successful kills in Spirit Vale. And then for items, Orc Sharpening Stones no longer use name confirmation to delete. The Oni Blade can now be attained from the Mystic Forge. We've got a link in the show notes. It's very, very pretty. Very pretty. And you can, and using the gift of magnanimity, there we go, will now probably deliver, thank you, the gift tree to the user's home instance. Players who didn't have the tree delivered when they used it will have the tree there now. Good job. Lovely. Good changes. Lots of quality of life stuff here. Great bug fixes. Would love to hear what people think ArenaNet missed. What do you think they missed, folks? Leave a comment and let us know. Professions.
I know what the top comment's going to be.
What?
And it rhymes with Ruv.
Yeah. So I'm going to dig deep into the Elementalist changes because I think that that's the class that I know the best. I'm really surprised that they have decided that now all Elementalists will be 3 inches tall in the game. It's a very bold choice, and I'm not sure why they did that. Also, removing all of the elements from the Elementalist gameplay and just having them now all based on something called Magnanima is really something different. And I'm not quite sure where they're trying to go with this, Bill.
Mm-hmm. So you've never played an Elementalist before, have you?
No.
No?
Never.
Do you know how to spell Elementalist?
It starts with an A,
no,
right?
No, you don't.
Well, no.
So in reality, while Chris figures out exactly what an Elementalist. Anyway, so yeah, a few changes there. Diamond Skin has been changed. Some people really hate this nerf. Other people kind of realize that with them trying, basically the Diamond Skin nerf is now changing it so that it's removing conditions when you're struck instead of being essentially a damage blocker or bunker type skill. So it's still actually an effective skill to have, but it's not quite what it was before. And unfortunately, that's when you get into the meta, especially the PvP meta, where bunker type players were quite popular. So not really damage dealers or anything like that, but just survival type players and point holders and that kind of thing.
Kill me, you
exactly.
Can't kill me. Yeah.
A lot of the changes that came through in the classes here seem to be trying to bust that bunker play style, if you will. So
right.
So that kind of happened with the Elementalist a bit. Other than that, it's not bad changes. I think they got toned down a little bit, but all in all, nothing that really was insane there or anything like that. Engineers, stuff happened. I like my engineer. I haven't touched it in ages, though, so I'm not even going to pretend to be an expert there.
A scientific analysis of these patch notes shows about 90% use of the word increased versus decreased. Reduced. So I'm going to say this is good for engineers.
Except for the cooldowns that have been increased, which is less good. So automated medical response, for example, going from 90 seconds to 120. So
other than that one example, the one. Okay.
We're not going to pick this whole thing apart.
No,
Sure, Chris, you're right.
Yeah,
Good call.
Guardians are also getting some changes. I've looked at my Guardian. It's playing pretty much the same. This is really not until you get into some of the harder content that you're going to notice this. It's very small changes that they're making in here as well. And really, with my Guardian, it's just I kind of throw my face at the keyboard and roll it around a whole bunch, and things die. I am looking forward to trying Dragon Hunter when I get more into Maguma Jumble, but I'm not there now. So
I'm curious to see if the Scepter is actually a worthwhile thing to have on your Guardian, because for the longest time, Scepter on a Guardian was one of those laughable things that, this is how we identify the person who just started playing Guild Wars 2 this week.
Yeah.
So, and the change there was that the Zealous Scepter trait actually gives you instead of getting 1 stack of might, you actually get 2 stacks of might when you're triggering justice. So it's actually that seems like a pretty big boost to me. That's being able to stack quite a bit of might. So
yeah.
So or it could stack quite a bit of might.
Yeah. So Mesmer, though, seemed to have gotten... Celeste left a little note here that she thinks that the changes to the Mesmer look pretty good, actually, but the Chronomancer got pretty heavily nerfed, which is unfortunate.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, the big thing, and this is what was all over the forums, is that Alacrity changed for the Chronomancer. That was a buff on the Chronomancer that would reduce the recharge rate on skills by the people affected by it by 66%. So, essentially, if you had this buff on you for every second it would normally take for every second that goes by, your cooldown on your skills would actually drop by 1.66 seconds. So it's a huge advantage for burst damage and that kind of thing. That's been cut in half with this patch, so the reduction is now only 33%. It's still not a bad buff.
Oh,
the big boost, it's huge. So
that is pretty huge.
Mm-hmm. So other than that, though, a lot of quality of life stuff has come up for the base class. Most of these are abilities I actually don't really recognize, but
well, let's jump down to the Revenant, because we did talk about that in the pre-show, and you were not happy.
Well, here's the thing. I know that Revenants needed tuning down. I recognized it. I was OP and I liked it, and that's fine.
I felt OP and I liked it. How's that? You like that?
That was great.
Thank you.
Anyway, so basically, there's nothing but down tuning for the Revenant here. The one exception to that was the Sword 2 ability, which changed. It got its damage tuned up a bit, and it also allowed it to, in the past, when you hit that ability, it would look for 3 targets, and if there weren't 3 targets, it would only hit 1, and you'd lose 2 of the projectiles that the ability would throw. Now, if there's only 1 enemy in range when you're attacking, it'll actually throw all 3 projectiles at the enemy. So that's not bad for a little bit of burst damage. But everything else, all the auto attack skills for Sword got tuned down. Coalescence of Ruin got its recharge tuned down. The healing factor for Crystal Hibernation on the Herald was tuned down by quite a bit. That used to be a huge heal, and to be fair, that was unfair. That was a terrible thing. I could see in PvP people just going insane over that ability. That was a bit too much. So I'm okay with that one getting tuned down.
There you go.
But anyway, so it's all down tuning, and it was all probably justified. It hurts me a little bit. It doesn't mean I have to like it. The Schadenfreude that comes up on Reddit and the forums and everything like that over the nerfs that hit the Revenant, it was a little bit. I thought that was a little bit much.
You felt really good though about the changes that they made to the Daredevil, didn't you?
Oh, I love that. My thief was my main was a thief. My thief was a main for a long time.
Was your main a thief?
Oh yeah. Yeah, from day one, actually. That is my first character and my main character from launch day. So, anyway,
I played a thief and I liked it. No, okay, so I'll stop.
So, now you can,
I'm
stop.
done. I'm done.
So the Daredevil, there were lots of damage boosts on the auto attack staff strikes. So there's actually a decent amount of damage being put out by staff now, which is not bad. I still feel like there's more to be done there. I like a lot of the movement abilities and everything. Like the staff is actually really fun to play, but I don't know that it's necessarily optimized for like dungeons, fractals. I'm assuming not for raids or anything like that. It's so fun though. I love playing a Daredevil.
It is optimized for maximum bounciness though.
Yeah, and that's where it's fun. It is fun. I love playing my Daredevil in PvP. The only thing that I don't like is that when I usually play PvP, I liked having all of the stealth skills available. That was something that was, I don't know, that was just kind of my thing. It annoyed a lot of people, and well, screw them. So that's there. Some of the anyway, going back to the base class too, the sword auto attack got a little bit better. They tried to boost the assassination line a bit. I won't go through all the changes in it, but I don't know that they actually boosted the assassination line enough to really make it worthwhile to me. But at least they're trying to get some alternate lines useful. So right. There's anyway, you can go through the show notes. We're not going to read the whole show notes off to you here, but the thief got a really significant boost. So if you had a thief that you'd stored for a while but felt like you weren't doing enough damage, especially in raids or against champs or legendary bosses and that kind of thing, this is going to be a nice boost for you now.
Yes, absolutely. And I looked at the warrior changes as well. And it increased where I liked it, it decreased where I liked it, and it did all sorts of good stuff. So maybe I'll have to start playing my warrior a little bit more.
You know, of all the classes that I actually got to 80, the warrior to me is it's the most boring. I don't know why. Because it's actually...
There's a lot big stick.
No, there's actually a lot of stuff that you can do. They have okay range with the bow, or range stuff with the bow. They've got tons of melee options. It's obviously a heavy armor class. So you got a little bit of survivability that you don't have on your thief. Oh, I love the survivability, but I don't know. This is a class that just never really triggered love for me.
I like it. I like
my warrior is my crafter now. He lives in He lives in Lion's Arch, and he makes things for me. He's my armor crafter, my weapon crafter.
Let's move on to SPVP changes. Change some stuff in the algorithms and bugs that were associated with it, so that's been fixed, hopefully. Forfeits are re-enabled. Losing a game in which a teammate received dishonor will result in a forfeit. Players partied with the dishonorable player receive a desertion on loss, but they will not get dishonor. So, hopefully that helps with some stuff. Strongholds are getting a new Miss Champion, Tybalt Left Paw. Tybalt. Sorry, he was in the intro. Tybalt.
Have you not done the Order of Whispers
story
yet?
Leave me alone.
No, like seriously, if you haven't,
I haven't.
The next character that you take through has to join the Order of Whispers, because Tybalt Left Paw is pretty much the most beloved NPC in the entire game, I think. And he's...
Apples for sale. Come get a nice quiet apple. Psst, they're so quiet, you might say they're whispering.
And it's not really spoilery, because if Tybalt Left Paw is a Miss Champion, chances are excellent that means he's not actually alive in the world. So when he becomes less alive than he used to be, I don't think there's a dry eye in anywhere in Guild Wars 2. It's just it's good. So it's nice to see him back. A lot of people I read, though, were a little bit disappointed that they feel like they kind of what's the word I'm looking for here? That they really kind of made him a bit of a comic character as a Miss Champion, like too many apple abilities. Like
it's all apple abilities.
I know, and that like an apple ability would have been a nice nod to say this is what Tybalt does. He makes jokes about apples, haha. Okay, then he was actually also a little bit of a serious character here or there, but. to make all of his abilities Apple abilities just seems a little bit patronizing. Like they just went to the well a little bit too much on that joke, I think, and I agree with the people who have been complaining about that. So, very nice to see a nod to Tybalt and to kind of get some memorable characters going again in Guild Wars 2, but actual characters introduced in Guild Wars 2, but.
Even just listening to the intro there, he seems like pretty much a caricature of a character.
Yeah, well, anyway, I don't know. Maybe I have a bit of a attachment to him because he was the first. That was the first story quest that I went through, so that I was still fully enthralled by the story and amazed by all these changes and everything like that. But yeah, Tybalt, yeah. I don't know. I don't really play the Mist very much anyway, so I can't really comment on it too much.
They've made some... Okay, well, we're going to move on. They've made some changes to some decoration stuff for guilds, and we have also talked about the Shadow revamp on other shows, and I'm pretty sure that Celeste and Allona have talked about it before it went live on this show as well. So that has happened, and everything seems to be going well about it.
I love the Shatter. I've done that fight a few times now.
Since the change?
Yep. And it's not hard. Like the fight is not challenging in the same vein as Tecatl or Triple Trouble or anything like that. Like it's not one of these fights that you need a commander organizing every single movement or anything like that. It's not a gimme anymore though. Like there's enough that can happen if people aren't paying attention that it actually becomes a bit of a challenge. There's enough NPCs added or like other characters added to make it challenging for the people, so you can't just sit in one spot and plink away and expect everything to go nicely. You're going to have to run around. You're going to have to pay attention to the mechanics. You're going to have to shatter the crystals when they pop up. There's achievements for busting his break bar, which is apparently happening very, very rarely. So yeah, this is a nice change. I would not be sad if they gave this kind of revamp to just about every world boss. I think
Do you think Tecatl needs it? It's one of the newer world bosses.
Well, if by newer you mean like, oh geez, what is it? It's over 2 years old now, I think.
Oh gosh, shut up.
I remember when there was no Shatter or no Tecatl. Yeah. Anyway.
Okay. We're going to move along again because we've already talked about a lot of stuff and we've got some more to go here. Celeste left us a note that there was a Reddit discussion about break bars and Defiance, and that Celeste and Allona talked about it in episode 169. We'll have a link in the show notes. Basically asking for a tutorial in the game about break bars and Defiance, which they don't have right now. You kind of have to look it up outside. So you can check out both episode 169 and the Reddit discussion if you would like to do so.
This is huge. So it's very important for a lot of bosses in this game to... It's almost more important to do their break bars, or it's not almost. It actually is more important to break bars on bosses, a lot of bosses, than it is to actually do damage to them. And a lot of people don't understand that you don't break a break bar by doing damage. You break a break bar by hitting it with CC abilities. And CC abilities are not all equal. Your little chill that you put on with some of your ice abilities or anything like that doesn't hardly nudge the break bar as much as a knockback or a stun or anything like that. So you need to understand which of your abilities actually hurts or actually damages a break bar. And it's something that, I mean, it's not a simple thing. Like this is not one of those things that I'd expect everybody to just pick up automatically. And that's why I think chat about the tutorial is important. It is. But it's if you're listening and you don't understand what the break bar is, look at what crowd control abilities on your character you have. If you have knockbacks, use them when you have a break bar. If you have stuns, use them. Like if you have nothing except that chill, do that anyway. Your auto attack isn't helping anything when there's a big break bar up. So would be, I would love this if they had some kind of tutorial, either as part of the when you're coming into or probably as part of the story quest would be best. For when you're first coming into Verdant Brink, because that's where you start to see break bars really be significant. So if you could just go through one mission in Verdant Brink where it was critical to do a break bar, in a kind of a quote unquote safe environment that didn't kill you in 3 seconds if you didn't do the break bar, it just extended the fight, that would be perfect. And that was a bit of an opportunity missed, unfortunately. So hopefully, hopefully this gets a little bit of traction and they actually work on that.
Yep. Okay, let's move on to the next segment.
Ask an Azura.
I kind of love that music. I kind of really... No, there's no French horn in that. There's no French horn in that.
What is that?
That's like a clarinet of some sort.
Oh, pardon me.
Yeah, come on, Bill. Although, you know what? For those of you who don't know, I do music in my real life. It's part of my job. And I sat there when you get through in that first zone and you get to, what's his Scout Aiken. And you get to him. I sat there for, probably 15 minutes and just listened to the sounds that he was making because it was so awesome. You know, the little lute playing Quaggan dude?
Mm-hmm.
Tell me you know what I'm talking about.
I'm trying to remember.
You don't know what I'm talking about? Oh my gosh,
No.
You're just a bad person, I think.
Pretty much.
I think that officially makes you a bad person. Doesn't it?
That's my title.
Isn't it like official?
Yeah, send me the business cards.
Yeah. Wow. That's wow. I'm sad. I'm looking for it here so I can play it for people. There it is. Here you go. Here's the Scout Aiken music. Yeah. Oh yeah. And there's actually and then bum bum bum. Yeah, sorry. I know the chord changes. That's how much I listen to it. There's actually a video of somebody jamming out with in-game music to that. You know, I should totally, when I can start playing, because I can't play right now, I should totally get that music and bring my saxophone home and from work and totally jam with that. Mm-hmm. And put that I'm going to do that. I'm totally going to do that.
Done.
Do okay, we are in Ask an Asura, and we did get a letter, although I tried to get a hold of Celeste because she didn't mark down who this came from. So I'm sorry to the wonderful person who sent this in. I do not have a name. Hopefully I can get Celeste to...
Probably Steve. Seems like something he'd do.
No, this is smart and intelligent. Steve's a moron.
Sorry. Right,
yeah.
You're right.
Yeah, I know. So here we go. Greetings, amazing podcasters. Thank you. I'll take that. Oh.
I say, clearly they thought they were writing Celeste and Allona.
Yeah. Oh, hey.
So we apologize again.
I thought I would share 2 counterintuitive tips for scribes. Tip number 1, back pieces. Make a few of them. They are great repeat leveling experience items. Fantastic for cost savings of the budget-conscious scribe. It's important to save them till when you are near the cap for each tier. Their experience is better than most other orange-colored items, at least at the time of this mail. I personally ended up with 9 of them. I only made 1 into the printing press. This may sound dreadfully wasteful, but it's a very efferent. Maybe that should be efficient. I don't know.
Efficient. For
the end of the 200s and 300s. And tip number 2, use the wiki to plan what decorations you want in your hall so you can gain experience making the ingredients. Due to the cost in each piece of furniture and the cost of leveling, a bit of forethought can save you a lot of resonating silver and their upgrading forms in the long run. Example, your guild wants a lion fountain. It takes an immense lion statue, level 250, to make it. To make the immense lion statue takes 2 lion statues, level 150. Making these as you go helps both the leveling as well as bringing beauty to your hall.
There you go.
2 great tips there.
Yep.
And then oh, sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say, I don't know a dang thing about scribing, so otherwise I would probably comment on that.
This sounds smart. I think
sounds like a great idea.
Smart. Particle shift. I just hit 400 in scribe, and passing the backpack thing along to guild members may help. Oh, that's who it was. It was particle shift. That's the name of the person, I think. Oh. I'm going to guess. I don't know. I hope it high particle shift, maybe. I just hit 400 in scribe, and passing the backpack thing along to guild members may help out them in the long run. For me, I reached 385-ish, and the cheapest levels for me was to go back and make 6 intricate scribe backpack and 4 to make them into ornate backpacks to reach 400. P.S. I had just one extra bit of scribing to add. If your guild has unlocked the Decoration Merchant 3, there are a lot of materials for cheap recipes available with that unlock. For example, at Scribe 125, you can color balloons using one linen thread, 1 white balloon sold for 50 silver after the unlock, and 1 pigment depending on the color of the balloon. The backpacks are still the best thing I have seen to level for the last 15 levels, between 200 and 300. If the guild you're in has done the upgrades to unlock the merchant, then that guild's scribes will have an easier go at getting up to the cap. Thanks, Particle Shift.
There you
I'm
go.
still guessing that's his name. All right, let's move on to...
Tales of Tyria.
All right, so this week's Tales of Tyria has the Community Showcase 9, and this is showing off some player-made creations that ArenaNet felt worthy of mentioning. So we're just going to talk about them real quick right here. They are looking pretty darn fantastic. I'm always impressed with the artwork that people are able to put together based on this game, and I just think that it looks really, really great.
Mm-hmm. I like the char. I'm assuming that's a guardian down at the bottom. That's really cool.
Yeah,
that's almost background worthy. Actually,
actually really, really great. There's the charcoal one. I like the Asura one too, but that char at the bottom, it's very stylized, right? Yeah, it looks really fantastic. The Asura looks kind of cool and goofy, and I really like the sort of again more stylized glider one as well. But that charcoal one is just absolutely beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. So if you want to see more of these, we will have a link to this post in the show notes. So that is our show for this week, Bill. We made it.
Hooray.
We made it. So there are ways to contact us, but they're actually not on this list. So if you want to get a hold of us,
there's a whole bunch of ways. I mean, head over to the kind of the central hub of everything, MMOreporter.com. We'll have links to all of our Guild Wars Reporter stuff there. Hit us up on Facebook. We'll answer there as well. Facebook.com/MMOreporter. And I'm trying to do this off memory. We appreciate any Patreon help you can throw our way. Patreon.com/MMOreporter. Or if you're not a Patreon kind of person, you can head over to MMOreporter.com/support for some other one-shot ways to help us out and everything like that. We appreciate it very much. Celeste and Allona appreciate it very much. And YouTube. YouTube.com/MMO Reporter
Network
/MMO Reporter Network. Thank you.
You're welcome.
You should get YouTube.com/MMO Reporter.
Yeah, I should also get MMO Reporter, but that's not working either.
Yeah. Oh, that still bugs me. That's been dead for how many years now? 4 years now?
Oh gosh, more than that. Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah, I'm unimpressed with that as well. But
curse you at MMO Reporter.
Yeah.
You can tweet at. I don't have Celeste and Allona's Twitter here. Chris, get on that.
6 years. MMO Reporter's been dead.
Chris, get on Celeste and Allona's Twitter handles. If you'd like to tweet at Chris and I and let us know how badly we mangled Celeste and Allona's beautiful show, you can tweet at Chris, either at MMO_reporter, or you can tweet at me at MMO Bill. And there's a whole bunch of other ways. Just check out MMOreporter.com. All of this is there.
Yes. And if you want us to not come back again, go check us out at patreon.com/MMOreporter.
Yep.
Thanks so much to Celeste and Allona for putting together such an awesome show every week. Thanks to all of you for listening to this week's show. We've tried to do our best we can for all of you. We really appreciate you coming out, listening to us, watching us on YouTube, any way that you enjoy the show. Thank you so much. We hope that you've enjoyed it, but most importantly, we hope to see you in game. Thanks for watching the video, everybody. Don't forget to check out all the other podcasts at mmoreporter.com or by clicking on any of the links here. And please check out our Patreon campaign at patreon.com/mmoreporter. Thanks, everyone, and see you in game.